Hello everyone and welcome to a new series where I'm going to be going over some tips and tricks that I picked up over my thousands of hours of playing Gamma. If you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comment section below, but before we get into this, here's some pictures of the cats. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Now the first tip is actually about the quest Lost Signal. I see so many people playing this game who ignore this quest because they find it either hard or for whatever reason they can't find the bodies. However, this is a huge quest, especially early game, because it is so easy to get good weapons and good armor off of the dead bodies. So as you can see, here we have a Lost Signal in Meadows. It tells you the megahertz and I'll show you exactly what you're going to have to do in order to find the bodies, but I'll also show you a way that you can bypass having to find the bodies. Now before we go, you need to make sure that you have an RF receiver. You do spawn with this in Gamma, but I do know a lot of people disassemble it, so if you need one, just go to your faction's trader and you should be able to buy one regardless of your relationship. So let's go ahead and equip that and let's start heading over to Meadows. Alright, I'm currently at the transition zone from Cordon to Meadows, and one thing I'd like to mention is the bodies typically spawn on the opposite side of where you come in. So for example, I'm coming in down here, which means the bodies are probably going to spawn somewhere up in this region. Now, if you come in from Dark Valley, for example, normally the bodies will almost always spawn down here or like right up this hill. But either way, let's run through the transition zone and let me show you how to find the bodies. All right, now that we're in Meadows, click 6 to bring out your RF receiver. And what you want to do is you can left click or right click to go up and down. If you hold down shift, you'll go up and down by 10. And if you hold alt, you'll go up and down by 50. You can also use your scroll wheel and scroll like this. But so we're aiming for 210, so I'm going to hold down alt, we're going to go all the way down, and there we go, 210. Now what we're going to be listening for is a small beeping, so let's go ahead and start running around. As I mentioned, normally it's going to spawn on the opposite end, so we're probably going to have to go up where the bandits normally are. Alright, you hear that very, very faint beeping? Over time, that beeping is going to get louder and louder, so I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's probably over this way on the right-hand side. As you can hear, it is starting to increase in volume. Yep, it is getting very loud now, so it's definitely within this building over here, probably. I'm actually really lucky there's no mutants over here. Typically, I have a controller here. Oh, it's getting quieter as I come over in this corner, so maybe he's not right here. No. Oh, I forgot there's a side field right there. Oh, the dead bodies were out front. I missed them somehow. All right, but as you can see, here's the dead bodies, and they're inside an electrical anomaly. Lovely. So for those who don't know, this is DAO doing this, so I guess it's time for another tips and trick. If there is, for whatever reason, an anomaly in your way and there's no way you can do anything, you can go into your mod configuration settings, find DAO, scroll to the bottom, and then it says delete dynamic anomalies. Click that, click apply, and there we go. They're gone. All right, so here's what makes Lost Signal OP. As you can see, some of these guys have really good stuff on them, like the Exo Helm, and also we don't know what weapons they have. So our goal is to search all 4 of them and find a PDA. Once we get that PDA, we can turn it in, and even if we don't get anything good off of these 4 guys, we'll at least get anywhere from 8 to 10k for turning in the PDA. So let's go ahead and start looting. So this guy right here, he has a Groza, and it actually has a good barrel, so this would have been perfect to find, actually. So that's already a Type D gun that we could repair really early on because it has a good barrel. Here's guy number 2. He has an AEK. There we go. See, that's also a really good early game gun. Honestly, one of the best. And we also picked up the PDA. So let's see about these other guys right here. He has an AKS 74 UN, but I did get a grenade and some medicine off of him. And here's the final guy, just an SKS mullet, which is actually still a very good early game gun that you can use because you can put different scopes on it. So yeah, that was really worth it, see? All right, now let's head back to Rostock and turn in the quest, and then afterwards I'll show you a different way of finding the bodies. All right, now here's the quest giver. Let's do job is done, and as you can see, 9.7k. So even if we didn't get anything good, we would have at least gotten nearly 10k for doing this quest. All right, so I loaded the save back before we had accepted Lost Signal, and this time it's giving us Darkscape, which normally I wouldn't accept. However, this time I get to show you the other method of finding bodies. So this is a perfect example. So let's go ahead and accept that. So in order to do the other method, you're going to need advanced tools, and you're going to come to your technician, and you're going to buy the PDA 2.0 upgrade. So let's go ahead and buy that, and then read it. And now you're going to open your advanced tools, go to devices, and upgrade it to PDA 2.0. The 2.0 PDA has 2 functions. One, you can see your allies on the map. So there's no ecologists here right now, so you can't see them. But it also shows dead bodies on the map, which means you can see the Lost Signal bodies. So let's go ahead and head over to Darkscape. And while we do that, let me warn you that it will only show the dead bodies on the map the first time you enter the area. So if you were to enter Darkscape, leave, and then come back later, it will no longer show the dead bodies. All right, now here we are in Darkscapes. Let's open up the PDA, and you should be able to see very quickly. Yep, look at those 4 blue dots. As you can see, that is where the dead bodies are. So let's go ahead and head over there. Darkscape is honestly such a good example because I hate this zone. It is way too big. And yeah, there's cars, like you can get in here and drive it. I guess that's another tip. For those who don't know, if you click F to get in the car, you click 6 on your keyboard, it'll start up the engine, and that's right, you can drive around cars. It's not that good, and honestly, it is really easy to just like run into an anomaly and die. So I don't necessarily recommend it. All right, here's the 4 bodies, and another good thing about doing Lost Signal is if you're farming for a specific kind of armor. So for example, if you really want ecologist science suits, it's a really good idea to go to the ecologist and get some Lost Signals from them. Or if you want the Merc Siva suit, farm using the Merc's Lost Signals. But either way, let's see about them. Nothing good on him. Nothing good on him except a grenade. This guy has an AK-74M with a good barrel, actually, which is really nice. And then, oh, AKS-74U Tactician with a scope, but nothing really major from these guys. But hey, as I said, if you don't get anything good, at least you get like 10K. All right, here he is, and job is done, 8.5, so that's on the low end, but either way, still really worth to do. All right, now tip number 2 actually deals with the Miracle Machine. Even though this is pretty well known in the Stalker community, there's a lot of people who comment whenever I do the Miracle Machine that they had no idea that you could do this. So let's go ahead and head over to the Miracle Machine. All right, first of all, let's go ahead and get the Psi helmet. There we go. All right, now once you disable the Miracle Machine, a burr will spawn in. What you want to always do is bring an explosive with you, whether it's an IED warhead or just an IED chemical. What we're going to do is we're going to go to where the burr normally spawns, right click this, plant with proximity, and as soon as we disable it, the burr will instantly die. But not only that, I'm going to do a quick run through of the Miracle Machine so you guys know exactly how to do it. All right, before we go into the Miracle Machine, we're going to want to pop some Psi block. And for those who are about to ask, yes, this is a custom mod called Quick Action Wheel. You're going to have to download this and install it yourself. But there we go, pop that. And then I'm going to pop 2 large glucose shots to get us not dizzy. Now, the reason we pop Psi block is because every enemy pretty much in the Miracle Machine does have those ghost figures that will run into you and reduce your size, so you want to go ahead and pop that. So the one really good thing about the Miracle Machine is everything is pretty much predetermined. So once we go in there, we will know exactly where enemies spawn. All right, let's go ahead and head down here. All right, as soon as we get in, you're going to notice that the light is flickering and flashing. If you really hate that, what you can do is go to your MCM settings, find glow sticks, which is right here, and then Brain Scorcher and Miracle Machine flickering. There we go, done. That is disabled. So now once we save and load, if I remember correctly, it should work. Oh no, we can just turn on and off the light. There we go. All right, so the Miracle Machine really isn't as difficult as people make it out to be, especially in the comment section. So what you're gonna wanna do is destroy these 3 boxes. Once you run over here, a Snork will spawn right behind you. So let's get ready for him. Hello, are you coming? There we go, dude. I don't know why he's walking. Now, here's the dangerous part. There's a bunch of Snorks down here, and they are Psi ghosts, can run into us and deal a lot of damage. So let's try to kill them as fast as possible. I didn't mean to fall. Oh, I got so unlucky. There's a dynamic anomaly right there. Holy shit. That is not good. Also, I'm getting hit by Psi. All right, well, let's hurry up because I don't want to die to Psi. As soon as we get right here, the Bloodsucker should spawn in. We need to kill him. Where is he? Oh, dude, he's running away. Ah, crap. I'm out of ammo. Well, this isn't good. This is not good. Oh my god, I actually lived that. Holy shit. Now, by default, this electric anomaly is not supposed to be here, which is why I recommend when going inside the Miracle Machine and the Brain Scorcher, you once again go to your MCN settings, find DAO, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and delete dynamic anomalies, because they are not supposed to be inside the labs, but they spawn in there anyways, which is also why you'll find artifacts in the lab from time to time. But just to recap, there's 1 Snork up there. You come down here. There's 2 Snorks that will normally attack you immediately. There's a Bloodsucker that spawns right there all the time. And there is a 3rd Snork, which normally stays behind right up there. He's not there. Okay. Oh, wait. I already killed him. That's why. All right. As soon as you run around this corner, there's going to be an explosive barrel. As you can see, it stuttered right there. That's the enemy spawning in. Shoot that. There we go. It exploded. That should have killed all the Snorks. It looks like it killed 1. Oh, I guess it killed both of them. Yeah, because there's 2 in here. All right, as soon as we cross this line right here, there's going to be 2 Bloodsuckers that spawn in right there. What we're going to do is run behind the pipe. That way we can't get hit by them. All right, now let's go. So they spawned in right there, the lag, and we're behind. They should start running up the hill towards us. Hello? I'm actually really confused right now. They're not coming for me. I think this is because of the Sin. For those who don't know, Sin are now inside the Miracle Machine, and I think that's messing up the pathing because, yeah, they're supposed to be coming for me. Yep, nope. Instead of coming for me, they're attacking the Sin. All right, now when it comes to the 2 Sin that are in this room, first of all, Brock does plan on moving them to a different location instead of in this, like, little area. He said he wants to move it to a corridor, whatever that means. I don't know if he means the one over here or, like, the one where the controller is, but that's what he says. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really have any good tips to kill the Sin. The only thing I can really recommend is that Sin are always weak to 1, explosives, and 2, Hydroshock or HP ammo. So for example, this ammo is good to use against them. As I said, I don't really have any good tips, so we're just going to try to kill them. There's normally 2. I have had people report to me that they've had like 3 or 4, but normally it's 2. I have no idea where they are. Wait, they might be dead. I see a lot of blue dots on the map. Maybe they were killed. I heard one dude just a second ago, but he shut up. Oh, no, I hear him running around. Oh, yeah, he's all the way up there. Let's just go ahead and pull the switch. All right, there he is. Come on. There we go. He's dead. The one good thing about having Sin in the Miracle Machine, though, is sometimes, every now and then, they'll have some really good armor or weapons on them. The bad thing is that they have really good weapons or armor on them. But, yeah, let's go ahead and loot him. Nothing good. Go ahead and pull the second switch. All right, there are some snorks coming for us. By the way, I recommend everyone try out the PPSH. It's an amazing weapon, especially due to the ammo capacity and the fact that Grok is nerfing 45 really soon, so Hydroshock isn't going to be as good. It's going to be really good to use the PPSH, assuming he also doesn't nerf that. All right, flick the third switch, and the last one is right up there. But before we do that, we're going to be planting the IED that we talked about earlier. Now, there's typically 2 snorks up here. One that's right there. Nope, didn't spawn in. And then there's one in the corner over here. But every now and then they'll run. Oh, they didn't. I was going to say every now and then they run down there, so you sometimes don't see them. All right, now pay attention. Right here on these stairs, what you're going to do is run up right here. You're going to right-click and click plant with proximity trigger. Ah, I moved it out of the way. I don't know if it's going to go off now. But let's go ahead and figure out. So run over to the control panel and let's listen. Yep, it exploded. Nice. But there we go. The Miracle Machine is now turned off, and we're going to pass out really quickly. For those who never played the OG games, right as soon as we hit the ground, there's supposed to be a cutscene playing. It's a remnant from the OG games. All right, now a lot of people worry about this controller down here, and I have no idea why, because all you have to do is rush him. Like, I'm being serious. Just rush him. Go as fast as you can, peek around the corner, and spray. There we go. That's it. Not dangerous at all. As always, remember to grab the Psi research documents, and let's drop through here to get out of the Miracle Machine. All right, now that we're down in the tunnel, we're just going to run straight through here pretty much. There's 2 snorks that spawn right here, so there we go, kill him. And then there's typically, yep, the second one that always gets stuck right there, and he's dead. So inside this tunnel, you'll come across a lot of snorks, I think 2 or 3 zombified stalkers, and then the pseudo-giant, which, by the way, you do not have to fight the pseudo-giant. You can just basically run around him. So there's one dude right here. Go ahead and spray down. And you should, yep, be able to see the zombified stalkers from here. Normally, I like to kill them over here instead of running right past them. So, actually, I'm going to see if I can't destroy that barrel right there and deal some extra damage. Yep, see, there's the second guy. Come on. There we go. I killed 1 or 2. I can't tell. But either way, let's go around this corner. Should be a snork right here. Yep. Can you tell that I've played this game a bit way too much, that I know where every single enemy spawn is in the entirety of the game? If you have a... Oh! As soon as I say that, I get caught off guard by a dude on that side that he's normally not. I was just about to open my mouth and say that if you have a grenade and don't want to be risky, you can throw a grenade right here because there's 2 snorks right over that little hill. So, boom. That killed both of them, right? Yep. All right, so as soon as we cross that line, the pseudo-giant's going to spawn in. And normally what you want to do is use those red barrels to kill it. But as I said, you don't need to fight it, and so we're not going to fight it. So as soon as I get right there, there we go. Spawned in. Let's just go ahead and run, make a left. Now, the issue with the pseudo-giant is he can actually hit you through the wall, which is really stupid. So, yeah, just run. Pseudo-giants early game deal quite a lot of damage. Here's another red barrel, but we're just going to ignore it. And let's get out of here. And here's the ladder. Let's go ahead and leave. By the way, I don't recommend staying down there because every now and then the pseudo-giant will squeeze through the little area that it's not supposed to be able to for whatever reason. So, yeah, I just recommend getting out of there, pulling yourself over, and boom, we're done with the Miracle Machine. So, on to the next tip. All right, now, funnily enough, the next fact also involves IED. So what we're going to be talking about is the Phantom Star artifact and what you can do with it. Perk, Phantom Pacifist, makes you completely invisible for 1.5 minutes. During invisibility, you may not draw a weapon, talk, or interact, and we're going to talk about how that's technically incorrect, and we're going to show you what OP things you can do with it. So first of all, let's put it on, and we're going to put our weapon away. However, even though it says you can't interact, you can still do things like open stashes, you can light fires, and you can even run over here and open doors. So when they say interact, I'm not sure what they mean. Now, it is correct when it says you can't talk, as you can see. Now, the thing that me and a lot of other people use the Phantom Star for is to actually pop the invisibility, run into an enemy base, right-click, and plant down an IED. So we're going to plant that down, we're going to run away, and we're going to get out of here. So there that goes. He is now dead, and we're just going to run out of here. No one even knows that we've been here. Now, let me remind you that perk artifacts can actually be repaired with other perk artifacts. You do not need the same exact artifact. So, for example, this Phantom Star that we just used up, obviously we want to keep it because it's really overpowered. So let's get the artifact melter, empower, click on the Phantom Star, and we can use a ball to give it 33% more, and there we go. It's now 100% again. Another fun fact is you can actually repair the Phantom Star while using it. So as you can see, we have it equipped. If I go to empower, we can go ahead and boom, repair it, and it still stays on us. That is one of the ways that people use to be able to run through the entirety of the Brain Scorcher and turn it off without having to shoot a single bullet. All right, here we are at the transition zone between Army Warehouse and Rostock, and the next thing I'm going to be talking about is the disguise system. So the way the disguise system works is if you put on any outfit that has a faction patch, for example, this duty one, as you can see in the bottom, with this outfit, most stalkers will assume you're a part of the duty community. But the main thing I want to talk about is how NPCs remember you even if you run super far away from them, so you need to be careful. So let me give you an example real quick. So using debug mode, I'm going to change my faction to freedom. So obviously we're now enemies with duty, and I'm going to go ahead and put on the duty outfit. So there we go. With this outfit, most stalkers will assume I'm a part of the duty community. So let's really quickly run into Rostock. All right, so let's pretend I went into Rostock, I did a ton of quests, and now I'm leaving. All of these guys can see me, right? So you would assume that once I get around the corner and I go down this way, if I were to swap into a different outfit, they would not aggro on me, right? However, that's not how the game works. So I'm hiding behind this tree. None of the duty members can see me. I'm going to go ahead and put on a different outfit. I'm just going to take it off. Now I'm freedom again, and you'll see in a second. You hear that? That's an aggro line. Even though they can't see me, they are now aggroed on me. See, yep, here they come. All right, so what I recommend you do is you go to a completely different zone before you take off your outfit and swap back. Because as you can see, even though they didn't know that I was right here behind the tree, they somehow come all the way to get me. All right, now we're all the way up on outskirts, and we're going to be talking about Lab X8. So let me go ahead and give a warning that this does work in Gamma. However, if you are using a mod pack that does not have the auto transition, you know, where you don't have to confirm you want to transition to another area, this will not work. So when following the main story of Living Legend, eventually you're going to meet S.T.A.L.K.E.R here at the laundromat, and he's going to want you to go inside Lab X8 and find him some documents. The issue is that the elevator doesn't work, and so what you're supposed to do is fight the monolith all the way up till that top floor right there, and in that room, you turn on a generator, which then allows you to go down into the lab. However, this has been a thing in Gamma for a while. You don't actually have to do any of that, and I'm going to show you it right now. All right, so as you can see, we're on the west side of this building. Right here is the elevator that you're normally supposed to have to turn on, but what you can actually do is run over to the stairwell, go behind it, and there you go. That's all you have to do. You'll just transition downward. All right, now that we're down in Lab X8, this area is actually pretty easy to get through. So first of all, right here in this room with the chemical anomaly, there's actually a ton of stuff. As you can see, Hercules, Yadalin, Radio Protect, and a bunch of stuff. So go ahead and grab that. All right, so the main thing you're going to be searching for here is documents. So let me show you the 3 main spots that they will spawn at. So first of all is right over here. As soon as you go inside this room, in the corner right there on this table, there will typically be documents. This is the first spot. So right here in this area. The second spot requires you to fall through this hole in the ground, and then right over here on this table or behind the table, there will be documents. And the final spot will require us to fight a couple of rats. We just run down this way. As soon as we walk right here, a couple of rats are going to spawn in. Yep, right there. And the documents will be over here on this table. So those are the 3 spots. All right, let's head back to Rostock so I can go over the final tip. All right, so earlier we completed the Lost Signal quest, which means on this character, we've only completed 1 quest so far. And for those who don't know, after completing 7 quests, you have a 50% chance of getting a yellow stash. Yes, it used to be 8 stashes guaranteed a yellow. That is no longer a thing. It is 7 for a 50% chance. So my final tip for the day is to do 6 quests down south and then turn in 1 quest up north. That way you are more likely to get a yellow stash up north, and you can get expert tools way easier. So really quickly, let's try to do 5 quests down here and then pay to go up to Yanov and see if we can't get a yellow stash. Let's see, another lost signal. Go ahead and grab that. Bandit and garbage. Another bandit and garbage. Search this hash wild territory. That's 4. Capture encrypted documents. That's 5. All right, so that's it. Once we turn in all these quests, we'll go up to Jupiter and then do 1 more quest, and we should be able to, hopefully, if we're lucky, get a yellow stash. So let's start with lost signal. Let's go ahead and head over to Truck Cemetery. And remember, since I have the PDA 2.0, we'll immediately know where the bodies are. All right, let's check the PDA, and they are all the way down there in the bottom right-hand corner. So let's go ahead and head over there. All right, here we are. Looks like these guys have some good armor on them. Nope, didn't get anything good off him, but there's the PDA. He had an SR2M. That's actually a really, really good gun. I recommend grabbing it whenever you can. This guy, nothing. And the final man right here. Ooh, he had an Apocalypse helm on him, dude. Look at that. That could have been an Apocalypse helm right there if I was lucky. All right, now we need to go over to garbage to go ahead and kill those bandits. All right, as soon as we get in here, there's already shooting because the bandits are right here. Wow, they just did 2 of my quests for me. Thank you. Now we have one more dude that is all the way over there. Honestly, I'm surprised he's not getting shot at by the loner who's always up there. Oh, now he is. Oh, there he is. Oh, there we go. He's dead. All right, cool. So now the last thing we need to do is capture enemy documents, which if I remember correctly... Oh, right there. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. After we get these documents, we have to go to wild territory real quick to search the stash. All right, let's climb on top of this train real quick to grab that. There we go. All right, let's head to wild territory. So luckily for us, we're an ecologist, which means we don't have to worry about those mercenaries right there. So we can just run right over here and search the stash, which annoyingly enough is that stash right there. But I'm pretty sure you can squeeze in like right here. Yep, I know it doesn't look like you should be able to do that. Trust me, I see the particles in my face and yet somehow, yep, that's it. All right, but let's turn in all those quests and hopefully it doesn't give us a yellow stash. That way we can go up to Jupiter and get the yellow up there. All right, let's see. First job done. There you go. Job is done on that. So that's the 3rd quest we've ever turned in. Here's number 4, number 5. All right, and unless I'm counting very, very, very wrongly somehow, this should be number 6. So there we go. Wild territory. Let me double check that that's not a yellow and then we will... There we go. Not a yellow. Okay, cool. Let us head up to Jupiter. All right, so here we are in Jupiter. Let's hope that they have some easy quests for us to do. Now, we don't want to do clear area of mutants because for whatever reason, this quest rarely gives you a stash. I don't even know if it can because I'm pretty sure every time I've turned this quest, I've never gotten a stash from it. Oh, this guy wants a snore can. That's easy. I actually have one on me from doing the miracle machine earlier. But the question is, will we be lucky? There we go. Job is done. And wow, nothing. That's actually weird. So either I'm really, really bad at math and we did 1 extra quest and that wild territory stash was supposed to be the quote unquote yellow, or for whatever reason, I just like boss signals don't count. Well, let's see about turning in another quest. Here, this guy wants a sewing kit. I can buy that very easily. So there we go. There's a sewing kit. All right, now let's see. Job is done. Outskirts of Pripyat. Let us open the PDA and let us see. Yep, there it is, the yellow stash. So either A, lost signal quests don't count, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because I did 2 of them, or I somehow miscounted somewhere. And by the way, if you're wondering how in the world I accepted a quest all the way over here when I was inside of Yanov Station, what you can do is actually open up your settings, go to MCM, and then find Taskboard. Sorry, PDA Taskboard. And then what you're going to do is you're going to up this scanning range up to 300. And the reason I do that is that way I don't have to run across Rostock in order to get all the quests from everyone. And I can also grab all the quests from Yanov. So it's very, very helpful. But either way, I hope today you learned something new. And if you have any tips and tricks, I recommend leaving them down in the comment section below. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.